Hi, everybody. Andrew Champagne alongside JD Fox for this week's edition of Champagne and JD. And we've got a big one in store. It is Kentucky Derby week as the Run for the Roses returns to its rightful spot on the calendar on the first Saturday in May. As usual, we've got our lineup of guests who have sent us videos and whatnot with some of their picks and stories. We've also got a very special guest this week that needs no introduction. Hi, Dad.
Thanks ever so much.
No problem.
There are, just so many famous and well-intentioned people that have sat in this chair, and this week you're stuck with me.
Yeah, as he has told me a couple of times, he thinks we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. I personally do not think so. We're going to have a lot of fun here. If you saw last year's Kentucky Derby show, you know the general format of what we're trying to do here. We're all going to give our top four selections in order, and we are going to have some of our friends, some people you know from the industry, who were so kind as to devote some time to send us videos of their Kentucky Derby stories and their selections for the Run for the Roses, which, of course, is coming up on Saturday, May 1st. And with that in mind, well, might as well get right into it, JD, unless you've got something else you'd like to add to the pomp and circumstance.
I just want to say thanks, Dave, for coming on. And finally, we've got the superior champagne. We've got the Dom Perignon on the show, if you will.
I am the true illustration of a captive audience since I'm spending the weekend at Andrew's house.
Yes, 5 minutes with him, and I make way more sense. If you ever had any questions as far as to, like, if I was made in a lab or whatever, listen to him talk, and you're going to come away with a far greater understanding of the insanity that sits before you here each and every week.
I almost said something to made in a lab, but your mother will probably be watching this at some point.
And it will undoubtedly be your fault.
It generally is.
Yes. Now, if you could please avoid kicking the snack tray that the computer is on so that we could have like a steady camera shot, that'd be great. I think our viewers would really appreciate that.
Let's move on.
The Kentucky Derby, first Saturday in May, May 1st, coming up on Saturday. It'll be race 12 at Churchill Downs, and we have a 2-1 favorite in Essential Quality. And you know me, Andrew. I see that 2-1, and while I think Essential Quality is a heck of a horse, I can't pay that price. So I am the one dissenting vote here in my top four. I have the sixth place finisher from the Louisiana Derby, Mandaloun, as my top selection, 15-1 on the morning line for Brad Cox with Florent Geroux aboard. Now, this horse has basically ran the Derby a few times. And what I mean by that is if you look at the last three Trackman comments, 4 wide first turn appears in every single one of them at the fairgrounds. And I actually think one of them was 5 wide and not 4 wide. So definitely has taken a long way around the track. And last time just didn't fire. I think Florent shut him down very, very early and then gave him kind of the full shutdown, kind of coasted in 6th in the 8th horse field. But as the Trackman comment said, capitulated. He didn't stop him. The horse capitulated. The Fairgrounds Trackman is having a lot of fun this year, it appears. But you go back to the Risen Star, and I think that's as impressive a performance as we've seen from any of the Derby competitors outside of Essential Quality. I do like Mandaloun finally kind of drawing more inside. Obviously a 20-horse field with the new Australian gate. All 20 will be lined up in a row. I do like the draw for Mandaloun. I think Mandaloun can sit a trip behind the early speed of Rock Your World, who's going to have to work hard to cross over. Medina Spirit right to the outside, I think can follow Medina Spirit into the spot that Florent Geroux wants and make one run at the end. Mandaloun. Andrew, Dave, Essential Quality for you, and I don't blame you guys.
I don't like taking 2-1 in a 20-horse field, but I think this horse is just much the best. Done nothing wrong, and I think it's sort of a suspect field. I don't think this is a deep field at all. And so I really don't think the horse has to do an awful lot to win. Like I said, I don't want to take 2-1, but, there's sometimes that you want to at least get something back.
Now, what my dad sort of hinted at, and what I will go into deeper depth in once we dive into our Derby bankroll wagers, is there are other ways to extract value out of Essential Quality that don't involve a win bet. Now, Mattress Mac, of course, of Run Happy fame, we have to say that word every time we say Mattress Mac. It's a horse racing constitutional right. So he is going to Churchill Downs, and he is betting 7 figures on Essential Quality in some way, shape, or form. We all initially thought it was going to all go in the win pool. He's now hinting he might hedge in the exotics, but if he does what he initially intended to do and parks either $2 or $4 million in that win pool, we may well not get 2 to 1. What we will get are some overlaid prices in the exactas, in doubles, in multi-race exotics wagers. And I got to agree with my dad. This horse has done absolutely nothing wrong, and I think is in line to set a picture-perfect trip. Now, as far as JD's stance goes, none of us hate Mandaloun. That's called foreshadowing, kids.
When we get to Mandaloun, I'll expound on that as well. I think the horse gets it. This horse gets a decent trip as long as Saez doesn't do something stupid again.
Yeah, the again being the appropriate term.
Yeah.
So, and that's as much of the 2019 Kentucky Derby as we'll talk about as we move on into our projected runners-up. And I guess I'll take the lead on this one because I'm the only one of the three of us that likes Medina Spirit. And I'm going to pose a little bit of a hypothetical here. Let's assume Life is Good doesn't exist. If Life is Good doesn't exist, Medina Spirit wins the Sham, wins the Bob Lewis, wins the San Felipe, runs second behind a loose on the lead winner in Rock Your World in the Santa Anita Derby. 15 to 1 on the morning line seems too big for me. Bob Baffert and John Velasquez, we've seen this movie before. They teamed up with Authentic, and I think they team up with a real live one here. I like the last 2 workouts at Santa Anita. It's a weird pedigree that you're not going to see much. By Protonico out of a brilliant speed mare, fetched $35,000 at auction back in 2020. I think Medina Spirit's really live in here. 15 to 1 seems like way too big of a price. Has enough speed to sit close, does not need the lead to run well, and I think will benefit from the more liberal whip rules in Kentucky that don't exist in California because reasons. Medina Spirit couldn't catch Rock Your World last time out, in large part because jockeys really can't ask horses coming from towards the back of the pack for all that they've got with the whip rules that are in place. I think closers from California move up when moved out of state. I think front runners from California move backwards when they go out of state. And I don't like Rock Your World one bit in here for a number of different reasons, but I think Medina Spirit has enough speed to sit close without urging and may have more of a bottom to him than we saw last time out. For me, this is a race where if you're constructing multi-race tickets, it's a 2A, 2B kind of thing for me. Essential Quality and Medina Spirit are the 2As. If Medina Spirit winds up winning, I will be a very, very happy camper.
I just wanted to have some bourbon at midnight, and I think Dave's with me there with Midnight Bourbon and as his second choice coming off of the runner-up finish in the Louisiana Derby.
Well, I think the horse is going to be near the pace. As long as the horse doesn't go berserk in the paddock and leave his race there. And the horse has been working forwardly and run very well at this track. Really what we're talking about with, our last 3, if you've taken the favorite, is the hit the board type of horse. And with the morning line on this one and the upside, what the hell?
And I think Mike Smith has pretty much gone on the record at this point and saying that they're going to send Midnight Bourbon in this spot. So I think Midnight Bourbon's going to be right in the early mix.
Oh, God.
5 minutes with him, and I make much more sense.
Just let me sit off the lead with this horse, okay? Behind Rock Your World, it'd be fine. Early speed at 1.25 miles, I just don't think flies. But that's just me.
Yeah, so JD, here is where you make your Essential Quality stand.
Essential Quality is the best horse in the field.
Yeah, and you can't pick him on top because I understand there's no value in a win bet, but as we're going to discuss in the win wager, in our wager section, there are ways in which you can make money and extract some value. Might be like water out of a stone in some instances, but there are ways in which you can do that. So you're seeing our exactas on the top of the bottom graphic there. We're now going to go into the third spots on our ticket. And JD, I feel as though we need to start with you here because, Anybody that's watched this show or follows you on Twitter knows that this horse is the object of your affection for pretty much ever now, right?
I couldn't put a Derby top 4 together and not have Bourbonic on it. I don't think that fits my character or my MO. And I do think that this could be a situation where the closers could have a chance for the first time in a while. And if that's the case, Bourbonic is a great closer. I don't think the 20 hole is necessarily a bad thing. I think Kendrick's going to just sit back and make one move, make a very similar trip to the Wood Memorial, gets extra distance. This horse has always screamed for more distance. This has been the gallop out king. And while I like Bourbonic more in the Belmont, I have to put him as my third selection here in my top 4 for the Kentucky Derby.
Well, the horse sure doesn't owe you any money.
No,
Can I
definitely
tell you
does
that now? I
not.
didn't want to get you in trouble before.
Yeah, and Kendrick Carmouche, first time in the Derby. That's a great story right there, and I think everybody's rooting for Kendrick.
Indeed. So, Dad, this is where you put Mandolin.
Yes, I think this might be the wise guy horse if all three of us are any indication, because we've got the horse in common and there's a price there. What are we, morning line 15-1? I think.
Thereabouts.
And this is another horse for the course. Horse broke its maiden here, and impressively, and the works have been positive, and I think they're going to get a nice trip just off the lead. I wouldn't be, adverse to seeing this horse and Midnight Bourbon just, accompany each other around the track, and we'll see if either one of them fires at the top of the stretch. Like I said, we're just trying to fit something in underneath the favorite.
Indeed, we are, and my third selection is a horse that I think may well be peaking at the right time. That's number 16, King Fury, and I am only partially selecting this horse because I am fearful that Tyson Fury, his namesake, will come to my house in the middle of the night and knock my head off. But King Fury comes in off of a win in the Grade 3 Lexington. Now, that race did break down up front. They went 22-1 to the quarter, 45 and change to the half. Having said that, though, this horse is 2 for 3 at Churchill Downs. The one defeat at Churchill Downs came with a really strange ride. This is a closer that got put on the lead in the Kentucky Jockey Club. I know I had him that day. I know our friend Gino Bacola had him that day. And we were both cursing the ride because we were going, what are you doing? Why is this horse on the lead? This horse is not a front runner. Well, in the comeback effort, King Fury did what he wanted to do, earned a 96 Beyer speed figure. Now, from where I sit, this goes one of two ways. Either he moves forward significantly and is a major player, or he moves backwards and is nowhere. I don't think it's a repeat of the Lexington that gets him like a decent 5th or 6th. I think you have a shot in King Fury, though, of getting a horse in good form at 20-1 on the morning line for a trainer whose horses tend to improve second off the bench. You look at Kenny McPeak's numbers, 18% with a $2.97 ROI. I like those numbers. I like the pedigree being by Curlin and out of a freaky mare named Taurus, who a couple of years ago could flat fly, and when she was right, she was very, very good. I think King Fury has a lot in his favor, and the faster they go early, the better his chances figure to be. So number 16 for me, the Champagne family lucky number, as my third selection.
That's our lucky number?
That was your softball jersey, right?
Well, I wore many jerseys, but yes.
But you always raised me that 16 was our lucky number.
Okay, if you say so.
I was born on the 16th.
Well, that's helpful.
Yeah, that's, I'm sure, very, very helpful.
But
And
as far as King Fury goes, what's the racing form thing they use handicapping? Prefer others.
well, I understand that, and that's sort of how I feel about your fourth selection in Known Agenda, who we'll get to in just a bit. But all three of us have Mandaloun in the top 4. This is where I put that one, and I do so with the disclaimer that I just don't think the Louisiana horses are all that good this year. But Mandaloun's run 2 starts back in the Risen Star was excellent. 98 Beyer speed figure, came from a little bit off the pace on a day where speed was holding something fierce. So I'm tossing the Louisiana Derby completely. Not sure what happened there, but that is not what this horse's A game is. I think he'll be on his A game here. Not quite sure if he's good enough to win, but if you're playing exotics, I think you need to have him on the ticket. Now, as far as my dad's fourth selection, he went down to the rail with a horse that I didn't like at all before the draw. I was hoping he would draw well so that he'd take money. Now he's in the one hole and may well drift up from that 6-1 morning line. I'm referring to Known Agenda.
Yeah, I felt like I had to throw in a closer, and this horse is going to do its best running late for any number of reasons. First of all, the propensity to close, but second of all, coming out of the one hole. So when you look at that, as long as the horse gets out of the gate without falling all over himself, then I think you're going to see the horse coming late. I think I read riding that could cut both ways, because he may or perhaps even will cause some sort of chaos as he tries to get off the rail. And, you know, it's another one of those hit the board things. The odds are, well, I think the odds may go up a little bit based on going out of the one hole. So in exactas, absolutely I'll use the horse.
Yeah, I get the value proposition there. I was surprised he stayed 6-1 on the morning line after drawing the rail. But for me personally, I saw the Florida Derby as a massive leap forward. And with a 3-year-old of that standing, usually when there's a massive leap forward, a massive regression is coming next time out. I get what you're saying. And if he repeats from the Florida Derby, he's a contender. But I just don't think he can.
As for the morning line, who makes the morning lines at Churchill Downs?
I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole.
Do you really think that he wanted to rip everything up just to do it, add a couple of more digits to Known Agenda?
That's Dave Champagne, not Andrew Champagne.
I mentioned no names.
Okay, just throwing that out there.
And I have King Fury here, Andrew, and I rarely take this tack in the Derby, but I liked King Fury a little bit more before the post-draw.
Really?
And my concern is that random trip in the Kentucky Jockey Club, and if it's still on King Fury's mind, it's drawn directly outside of Rock Your World. I don't want that horse to get any ideas. I don't want Brian Hernandez to get any ideas. I do not want King Fury following Rock Your World. And I just see like there's a chance that could happen. And that was probably the only horse in the field I'd be concerned about that, drawing the inside. No blinkers, no equipment for King Fury at all. No shadow roll, nothing. Going to be staring down at Rock Your World, trying to make the lead from right inside of him. Before the draw, I was right between King Fury and Mandaloun as my top choice in the Derby. I do agree with you, Andrew, that I think King Fury is firing at the right time and coming in off of a strong race in the Lexington. The sloppy conditions, I don't think that helped King Fury. I think with the running style, it actually hurt him. I think it's a little more impressive that he overcame that to get the 2 3/4 length victory. So Mandaloun, Essential Quality, Bourbonic, and King Fury for me.
So those are our top 4 down there on the bottom. The 2 of us went with Essential Quality. JD going with a little bit of a price on top, but we all respect the likely favorite. It's going to be a really good race. We all agree on that. And we needed a little bit of insight from some friends of the show, people you've seen on this broadcast before, people you've seen if you're on horse racing Twitter, people you know, people whose opinions you value, and people who have a lot of really cool stories to tell. So right now, for part 1, let's go to the videotape.
Just a couple days out from the 2021 Kentucky Derby, my buddies Andrew Champagne and J.D. Fox asked if I'd send in a little video to share a Derby memory and then maybe some thoughts on this year's Kentucky Derby. Make sure to check out their show, Champagne and J.D. Subscribe on YouTube because every week they do a really great job providing you information, covering big races coming up each weekend. And this one, it is the Kentucky Derby. For me, a really memorable Kentucky Derby was back in 2012 when All Have Another won. Not only because I picked All Have Another, and we always remember the ones where we make a little bit of money, but because I myself was someone who got sick. I had cancer at the very end of 2010. And in 2011, I became very close with Doug O'Neill and a lot of some of his owners and connections. And Doug O'Neill and some of his owners actually named a horse for me, Fight on Gino. You can look the horse up. It was running in 2011. So I got pretty close with Doug around that time. And coming into 2012 with All Have Another, I was rooting for him, no doubt about it, but I'm not a sentimental guy when it comes to gambling, handicapping, anything like that. I have plenty of friends that I don't think they're going to win every race. I actually liked I'll Have Another quite a bit, and I was able to make a good score in 2012. So it was nice to see one of my friends succeeding and also being able to pick up a few bucks along the way, which leads me to this year. I don't have just one for sure I'm going to bet this horse to win. I think I probably have 3 horses that I'm going to build a lot of my exotics around, and one of them is a Doug O'Neill horse. Yep, Hot Rod Charlie. He feels like he's just coming into this race perfectly. He's got a tactical style. He was on the lead last time, but he won't be on the lead in here. I don't have any issues with him getting the distance. He took a nice step forward. One more, he's right in the winner's circle. He's going to run a really good race. I also think highly motivated. He's kind of a buzzy horse. Everyone's talking about how much they like him, but I do too. I've been on him for a while, and I expect him to run a really good race. And then at a big price, Superstock. I think Superstock could spice up some of the exotics there for you and really, really get you a nice exacta or try if you can get that one into the top 3. So best of luck this weekend with your Derby plays, and big thanks to Andrew and to JD.
What's going on, everyone? My name's Matt Dinnerman. I'm the track announcer at Golden Gate Fields, and it's time to give out a Kentucky Derby pick. I saved this beard right here just for the Kentucky Derby video for Andrew and JD. Let's go to number 15 in the starting gate, Rock Your World. He's my pick for John Sadler, Joel Rosario. This horse checks off all the boxes for me. He's got tactical speed, a high cruising speed. His pedigree suggests he should love going 1.25 miles. He's out of an Empire Maker mare by Candy Ride. A lot of route pedigree there. His gallop out suggests he will love added ground, and this horse should get a really good trip stalking the pace, assuming he breaks okay. He's working really well into this race. I've been watching his workouts on XBTV, and he looks fantastic. I actually think better going into this race than when he was going into the Santa Anita Derby. He's improving. He's a horse that's just getting better and better, and I think there's room for him to grow. I think he's a really good horse. So Rock Your World is the pick for me in the 2021 Kentucky Derby. Good luck, have fun, and enjoy the race.
My favorite Kentucky Derby memory is actually 1990, and the win for Unbridled. It wasn't so much because of the fact that Unbridled won. It was more of the fact that of what happened afterward with Carl Nafsker and Miss Genter. That was such a special moment, and I think it always will live on in horse racing history. As far as this year's Derby is concerned, I gave out Hot Rod Charlie. I still think he's going to run a huge race, but I would also recommend using Medina Spirit and Superstock. I keep looking at Medina Spirit's Thorograph numbers, and I might actually make a win bet if the price is right. But that's the one I would take, and good luck, and hope you guys have some winning days the next couple days.
Hey, this is the Sniper coming at you from the Sunshine State. I got a lot of Derby memories in my head from over the years. It's such an important race, and it means a lot to me personally. One that really sticks out in my mind was the 2020 Derby with Authentic. Not because of who won or because I had a future bet on it, it's because I was able to see it. I was sick earlier in the year and was able to recover, and fortunately able to see the Derby and bet on it. It's something that I'll always remember, good, bad, or otherwise, but the Derby's a great thing for my family and myself. This year's a really interesting race. I've narrowed it down to Known Agenda. That's my horse from the number 1 hole. We're still going with him. Let's roll.
And thanks to Gino Piccolo, Matt Dinnerman, Andy Villanueva, and the Sniper Barry Spears. We'll have more of our friends join us shortly with some more stories and selections for the 2021 Kentucky Derby, the 143rd running. This is the part of the show, Andrew, that everybody came to see. They want to see what Andrew Champagne is going to do when it comes to placing wagers on the Derby.
Yeah, because I'm the guy you really want to trust if you're down to your last $30 at a racetrack. I appreciate that lead in, JD, and if nothing else, you gave him a really good laugh.
You know, when you're hot, you're one of the best around, but when you're cold, you run as cold as anybody I know.
Where do you think I got that from?
Oh, I'm sure that comes from me.
Okay.
Dave, as a quick aside, since giving out Bourbonic, I've been ice cold on everything. I went 0 for 4 in our pick 4 sequence last week on this show, which takes some doing.
Do you have a
At
broom
Golden Gate
like
Field.
Matt Zimmerman does? You have a broom.
Oh, goodness.
I don't.
But yeah, Andrew, you are taking this the exotic direction, and you are going with some exactas. You got some part wheels, you got some key boxes. Tell me what you're doing. Tell the folks what you're doing.
Sure. So for this segment, we each operated with a budget of around $30. That was the ballpark in which we went to. We wanted to make it to where it would be affordable for a bunch of different players and a bunch of different playing styles. Now, for me personally, I decided to go the exacta route here. First, my big key play is my 2 A horses, that being Medina Spirit and Essential Quality. 8-14 on top with 7, 8, 14, and 16 underneath. One of my A horses wins. One of those 4 horses runs second. Hooray! It's a good day. And then I keyed Essential Quality and Medina Spirit in separate $1 exacta key boxes up and down. So Essential Quality with those 3 with Essential Quality, Medina Spirit with the other 3, and the other 3 with Medina Spirit. So lots going on here for me. And if it comes in 8-14 or 14-8, I hit it for $5. And that exact is going to pay something. So what I'm trying to do is get a little bit of money out of my top 2 selections. And I'm just hoping that the exactas are overlays based on the win price that we're likely going to get on Essential Quality.
I have a question, Andrew.
Hit me.
If you like Medina Spirit, there's this magical bet called a win bet. I'm curious if you've heard of it.
I have heard of the win wager. I definitely, it's come across my mind for sure. And I thought about that, but ultimately I just decided, you know what? I'm going to stick with exactas for my bankroll play. That's what I feel confident in. But I understand that, and I am going to watch the board. If Medina Spirit is anywhere close to 15-1 on the morning line, that's going to require some win money.
And I'm taking, you mentioned the tact of trying to make some money with Essential Quality up top. So obviously I'm putting $15 to win on Mandaloun. I have that as my strongest opinion. I feel like Mandaloun is probably going to come down a little bit from the 15-1 morning line because some horses like Known Agenda are going to drift up. If we get 10-1 or more, I'm going to put $15 to win on Mandaloun. But the $5 exacta play, I think, is the key one for me here. How do you get value if Essential Quality wins? I'm putting a $5 exacta up part wheel. Very simple. Cost you $10. Putting the 14 Essential Quality up top and putting Mandaloun and Bourbonic in the second spot here. So, again, taking some strong selections and putting them underneath. Andrew.
May I point something out? If it comes in 14-7, we all win.
Yeah.
Let's just not even run the race. Essential Quality wins. Mandaloun runs second. We all cash an exacta that for $2 will probably pay what? $70, $80.
Well, before you get too carried away, let me remind you that Paul LaDuca gave out Mandaloun yesterday on the broadcast.
Okay.
For whatever that's worth.
Okay.
Because he's one of those guys like the Let It Ride, call your brother, see who he likes, cross it out.
No. I did not touching that one. Not touching that one.
I'm making tons of friends here.
I worked with Paul a couple of years at TVG. Paul was always good to me. I'm not touching that.
Oh, I loved him as a baseball player.
Not touching that. And what number do you wear?
Mine.
16. All comes back.
I had it before he did.
All comes back.
Yes. We got him outnumbered.
I don't know. He's got the Indiana Grand shirt on. It kind of trumps everything else.
Yeah, but I have a hat.
Hi, Rachel McLaughlin. Hi, Bill Downs. Hi, Nancy Holtis.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Eric Hellstrom.
It's Rachel.
So the other plays I have, if Mandaloun wins, I'm putting a $1 exacta there. 7 with 14, 16, and 20. Again, that will pay decently if Mandaloun is the winner and we get a little extra besides our win money. And then We've wagered $28 of our $30 budget. Let's throw a $2 win bet on Bourbonic.
You know, for as much as the ticket construction police will try to nab you for that, if you made money on Bourbonic and the Wood Memorial, you're ahead on that horse for life, and I thoroughly understand where you're going. So,
Okay, for your dollar bets. Now, I'm one of the first lessons I ever taught him at the racetrack. Always box exactas. Always. I'll give you the $3.
if he's not
Not
going to
him.
take it, I'll take it.
Not you, him.
Well, you can't hand him money. He's in Arizona.
Well, yeah, but I can own it.
I mean, is Churchill one of the tracks on the Forbidden Planet you can't bet in Arizona?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So, you can PayPal him or Venmo or something.
Sure.
Okay. There. See, JD, you got your $3. Just give me 10%. Give me the 30 cents, and we're good to go.
Is it my turn yet?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm taking this very easy. Going to use the favorite on top in $3 exactas, and I'm going to box it up and down with my other three, 1, 7, and 10. And then with the $12 I have left, I'm going to throw a $2 exacta box in with 1, 7, and 10, and hope like hell that one comes in instead.
Okay, so you're seeing 3 different approaches to the Kentucky Derby, all on a $30 budget. Take parts of our opinions you like, toss out parts you don't. The most important thing, get involved. And speaking of get involved, it's about time now for us to throw it to a couple of our other friends. Guys, gals, take it away. Tell us some stories. Tell us who you like.
Hey everybody, Darren Zocali from TwinSpires.com in Churchill Downs. Andrew asked me to pop in and talk about a Derby memory, and one of my favorite Derby memories is actually from when I was 16 years old. The Kentucky Derby, of course, being the first Saturday in May, interfered with my SAT exam, which was that very same day. So my father was off to the Meadowlands for our customary spot on Derby Day at the Big M, and my mom had to take me to Monsignor Farrell High School in Staten Island to take the SAT exam. Needless to say, I got through the test probably in fairly close to record time and made it to the Meadowlands before the second race at Churchill Downs went off. And the best part is, I did really well on the SAT exam, and I had a winning day at the racetrack. And maybe you can say for a glimpse to Derby 147 this year, I was highly motivated to get to the Big M. Good luck with all your picks in Derby 147.
Hello everyone, this is CJ Johnson. Gimmick Andrew asked me to submit a video with my Derby selection, and this year I think it's the most wide open Derby in 10 years, and now that I just said that, Essential Quality's probably going to win by a pole, but I'm looking for long shots, so I'm thinking an ice cold 6'9" exacta, Bezos over Hot Rod Charlie. But then I also think that Mr. Steve Asmussen has a great shot to win his first Derby with Midnight Bourbon. So there we go. Let's roll.
My name is Alicia Hughes, and I am the digital content editor for TVG. And before I tell you about who my pick is for this year's Kentucky Derby, let me regale you with a tale of one of my works, not one of, probably my worst pick ever for the Derby. It was the year 2014, and I decided to go with Medal Count. Yes, you heard me. I went with Medal Count. I was convinced after the Bluegrass Stakes that he was going to jump up and run a huge race, and I listened to, bless his heart, Dale Romans tell us how this horse was going to change the breed one day, and I put more money than I have ever bet on a horse in my life that day. And as you can remember, this little horse named California Chrome is the one who actually went on to prevail and kind of made something of himself after that. So with all of that in mind, it taught me a lesson of don't get cute sometimes when you're evaluating the Derby. Look at what's in front of you. And with that in mind, I am sticking with the favorite this year. I'm going to go with Essential Quality. I can't find anything to not like about him. He is 5 for 5. He has won all 5 of his starts in different fashions. He can handle a wet track. He can handle a fast track. He can sit just off the pace if need be. He can come from well back if needed. And I know some people thought that the Bluegrass Stakes might have been a sign of some vulnerability, but Brad Cox did say this past week that he did tell Luis Saez that day to kind of save a little something in the tank for the first Saturday in May. And I think he's done that. Nothing I've seen from him this week has turned me off of him. So I said, I've learned my lesson. I'm going with what I see in front of me. And what I see in front of me is Essential Quality winning this year's Kentucky Derby.
What's up, Champagne and JD? Hope you're all having a good Derby week. I know I am. I'm getting ready for the race, thinking back over the years at some of the memories I have of the Derby and who I like this year. So I thought I'd share those with you guys, and you could pass them out to the fans you all have, and hopefully we can win a bunch of money this week. In 2001, Monarcos won the Kentucky Derby in under 2 minutes under Jorge Chavez. That Derby will always be close to me, as my uncle actually put the shoes on Monarcos for that race. He shoed all of John Ward's horses at the time, and it's one of the few Derbies that I didn't actually handicap. I just, I was so close to my uncle and the horse that it was an easy bet for me. I didn't really think he'd have much of a shot, but he proved the world wrong and won at near record time. My other memory is War Emblem. I was all over that horse from the get-go, loved it. Thoroughbred Court bought it after its prep race. Baffert brings it to the Derby. Nobody thought Victor and War Emblem could go wire to wire. He proved the world wrong again at a very nice price, won me a bunch of money, and actually got me introduced to one of my best friends now, as we were both at Keeneland that day, didn't know each other, but we were probably the only two people in the place cheering for War Emblem. So we met that day, and we've been close ever since. So it's always nice to hear stories from people where horse racing brought them together. As far as this year's pick goes, I'm going to go with Rock Your World in very War Emblem fashion. I think this horse is going to jump out to the lead. I don't know if anybody's quick enough to go with it. They may decide not to, and if he gets out there and rests in that second quarter after gaining the lead and getting over to the rail, I think he may have an extra gear left for everybody in the stretch. I mean, Essential Quality is going to be tough to beat, but he's going to need a trip, as the other 19 are, because my horse is going to be out front, setting his own trip. So I'm going with Rock Your World. Good luck to everybody. Hope everybody wins a bunch of money this weekend, and have a great day.
Special thanks to DZ, Darren Zocali, CJ Johnson, Alicia Wentz-Hughes, and Brian Howard for their thoughts on the Derby and some memories. DZ had a crazy teenage run, I think, in terms of the Derby and prom and all of these things, and it's fascinating learning that from him.
I just blame his school district for not appropriately scheduling all that stuff. And by the way, his son has something very special coming up on Saturday afternoon that I guess he couldn't get out of. So, loads of fun there, and apparently that is that's following him. Now, we've got a bonus for you here. This is something that we threw together pretty late in the sequence, but we've got some undercard plays for you. And one of the things that we want to stress is there's a lot of other racing going on at Churchill Downs. Yes, the Kentucky Derby is a big deal. You're going to want to put some money down on that. But the name of the game in horse racing is maximizing your return on your strongest opinions. And you can have a strong opinion in any race on the card. You like a 4-to-1 shot, pays the same there as it does on the Kentucky Derby. So that's what we're taking the approach of. And now we will go through and we'll talk a little bit more about some other horses you're going to want to keep an eye on the first Saturday in May. JD, I see you got a little carried away. You've got a couple of different horses over there, including, is that right, a 30-to-1 shot in a maiden race?
Yeah, 30-to-1 shot. Anthropologies run twice. They were distanced out by a year. They were turf races, they were synthetic races at Turfway Park. I always, you start thinking Turfway and you want to just say turf racing, and that just doesn't work like that. But really, this is going to be a debut, both routing and on the turf, for this daughter of Caracante out of the Smart Strike mare Sassy Faction. If you're a Southern California player, you'll know that Sassy Faction is the dam of one. Wait for it, Andrew.
I'm waiting.
Drum roll, please. Cambodia.
Cambodia. That horse I liked a lot in the Filly and Mare Turf a couple of years ago. Looked like a winner for a couple of jumps.
So a lot of turf pedigree there first try on the turf, first try routing. I don't think we're going to get anywhere close to 30-1 on this horse based on the pedigree with Caraconte up top, going turf for the first time. But we're going to give it a shot anyway. 30-1. That's in race 2, the maiden filly mare turf, 3-year-olds and older in that one. And then the other horse I want to give out is Ivar in the Turf Classic. This is going to be kind of an interesting angle, and you're going to have to bear with me here a little bit. But Ivar, Brazilian bred, started racing in Argentina. Now, in I think 3 of the 4 races in Argentina, Ivar was gate 11 or out, and they have only 10 horses and they have an auxiliary gate. So there's a gigantic gap. And so what Ivar has learned to do, when Ivar gets an outside draw, Ivar sits back and sits a pace and makes one run. So obviously that worked out well in the race that everybody probably associates Ivar with, which is the Shadwell Mile at Keeneland in the fall. Just made one tremendous move down the lane with Joe Talamo aboard. Talamo maintains the mount here, but this horse shows speed when drawn inside and is when amongst friends and kind of packed in. It wants to go. It wants to separate itself, and I do think that this is a race that is incredibly lacking speed besides smooth like straight. So I'm expecting Ivar to be a lot closer to the pace and make that one move that has been successful in some of the other tries here in North America. So 2 horses there, Anthropology in the second, and in the Turf Classic, the race 11, Ivar.
All right, let's go in reverse order here because, Dad, you like a 12-1 shot in race number 9.
Yes, I do. Chess's Dream, the 3-horse, certainly fits in this field. Jose Ortiz gets back on, and that's notable since Jose rode the horse to its probably best race ever. The horse is going to be coming late. I love closers, and if we get 12-1 in this horse, I will be shocked. I expect it to come down to single digits. So I'm going to throw the horse in. Well, first of all, I'm going to play it to win in place, and then I'm going to throw it in with the 2 favorites. Number 4, Annex. We'll turn that into an Ortiz brother exacta, and maybe Irad will give Jose a sniff at this one. And then I'm going to use the 13, Scarlet Sky, the other morning line favorite, and see if we can fit the 3 in and make some money.
So he says he likes closers. I like closers too. That's sort of where I get it from. And I'm going to be playing a closer that's 8-1 on the morning line. I think we're going to get that price. I'm looking at race number 4, specifically at number 6, Hey Dakota. Hey Dakota has a lot of back class. You've seen him in a lot of stakes races, and he's run pretty well in a lot of those races. Mike Maker has kept him going pretty well. He ran into a couple of fields at Gulfstream Park that went very, very slow early for the level. You look at the first quarter times, and if this first quarter is, say, 24, he's not going to do well. He wants a first quarter in the 22-4, 23 flat range. If the half is around 48, he needs faster than that. I think he's going to get it. I think there's a lot of early speed signed on in this race, and I don't think the early speed is of particularly high quality either. So my thinking is Hey Dakota is going to sit back and blast home late at a pretty big price. Second off a brief freshening. Jose Ortiz riding for Mike Maker. I think Jose Ortiz might be in line for a pretty big undercard there. But the key factor here is a lot of other races on that Churchill Downs undercard. You're going to want to get involved. You're going to want to see if you can find a way to zig where everybody else zags and maybe make a little bit of money along the way. So a lot of opinions to potentially choose from, a lot of races to choose from, a lot of horses to choose from, big fields. That usually means good betting races. Looking forward to the Saturday program.
Yeah, it should be good. And one of the things, going back to Dave's selections in the American Turf with Chess's Dream and also Scarlet Sky, you're going to see something unusual, too, back in the Palm Beach. You're going to see these horses. Chess's Dream was 24 lengths back at second point of call, and Scarlet Sky was 22, because you had a horse run off on the lead for Irad Ortiz. Irad could not control the horse, had an 8-length lead, and obviously basically stopped and finished last and stopped essentially to a gallop. So if you're looking back at that race, watch the replay. That Palm Beach was a strange race, but maybe 3 back for Chess's Dream and the Kitten's Joy, really something you want to look for if you're doing your video work.
Yeah, Yeah, there's a lot of video to watch. We're recording this on Thursday night, so if you're watching this on a Friday, get to work because it's an early start on Saturday morning, especially if you're out here on the West Coast. Now, our final thoughts segment, and I have no idea why I'm the one being told to behave, given that the controversial champagne has been that one and not necessarily me. I'm the one that has been on my best behavior. I don't know what you're talking about here, JD, and I'm demanding an explanation.
Well, we have an open mic for you. And, based on what Dave was saying earlier, we want you to be respectful. And I can continue down the line there. I hope you picked that up.
What am I not respecting?
What did I miss?
I don't know. This to me just seems like
I'll explain it post show, but obviously, Andrew, I would like to pose a question to the Champagnes together here for final thoughts.
All right.
I want to hear about your guys' maybe Dave's earliest memory of taking Andrew to the track. I think that'd be a great way to close out today's show.
Well, the story that came back after when he went to his mother's house was Daddy warmed my bottom at Saratoga. But after that, you asked.
I did.
After that, he got really into jockey autographs. I've got a great picture of him with Diane Nelson, for example, the late Diane Nelson, who brought home my first signer, as a matter of fact. And he would chase all the jockeys around when they would let you get him at Saratoga. And now they've got 15 security guards working with him. But he's been going since he was old enough to walk. Well, before that. And he knew his way around the track better than just about anybody at a very young age. And some of the best times we've had have been at racetracks all over the country.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Obviously, having my dad here is really cool. We're in a pandemic. That's something that I think nobody's going to take for granted ever again, the ability to see their family and be able to spend quality time with them, especially when that family's 3,000 miles away.
Get the damn shots.
Yeah, that's for darn sure. We're not very political people, but seriously, folks, you're not getting injected with human embryos. You're not getting microchipped. Get the shots. That's the political portion of the program. Now back to as far as final thoughts go. The story that I thought he was going to tell was the story of that signer that you hit.
With the car keys and the electric socket?
Yes, the OTB story. The OTB story.
Diane Nelson brought a horse named Freedom's Wave home at an astronomical price. And I had this at OTB where back then there was a 15% takeout. And he was just a toddler, and I brought him with me to cash the ticket. And he sat on the floor playing with my car keys, and the teller noticed that he was trying to stick my car keys in an electric socket. And so, fortunately, we managed to rescue him.
Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah, it was not exactly one of my brighter moments, but it makes for a fun story to tell. So,
yes. Can I give a thought now?
If you'd like to give a thought.
Okay. I've got a couple of quick points that I want to hit. First of all, there's two people that I miss every day of my life. My father passed away in 1997, and I think about him every day, and I miss him every day more and more. The other one I miss is this guy right here. He moved 3,000 miles away, and I keep threatening to join him. And one of these years, that's going to happen.
I don't have a garage yet. I'm sorry.
So moving along, I'm just going to leave that one where it sits, and I'm going to explain a handicapping philosophy that we've used a couple of times. And you guys have had 50-some shows. He may have actually brought this up.
And he's actually watched a few of them.
I have. I've listened to them. It's been like on a different screen.
You don't drop everything you're doing every week to watch this show.
I'm sorry, I generally don't. But anyway, there's a maiden handicapping strategy that we've used to some success, actually, and we call it the suck factor. if you've got a first-time starter or several first-time starters running in a maiden race that really looks lousy, then give those horses a chance because it hasn't had a chance to suck yet. So we've called it the suck factor, and we've actually been pretty successful with this. So the last thing I want to say is if anybody out there thinks that this stuff is easy, like the trolls that send nonsense in that won't put their stuff in, play yours, lose their money, and it's your fault. If this was easy, everybody'd be doing it. And that's not the case. You guys have come up with something here that has really, really good production values. You share some wonderful insights. You've got really good guests, well, except for tonight. And you guys put on a quality offering every week. And it seems to me that if it hasn't caught on big time yet, it ought to be soon. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thanks, Dad. Love it.
And I love you too.
Thanks, Dave.
Sure.
All right. Well, I'm not even going to spoil this with my satirical thoughts. JD, I'm going to let you close this. What you got one? I would imagine.
Yeah, all I was going to say is I'm glad Arizona got its act together. We were sitting here after a commission meeting a couple weeks ago where we did not get approval for the Derby signal, but they got it done behind closed doors. So Churchill was available today on Thurby. I had to do it, Andrew. I'm sorry.
Is that why you told me to behave?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm taking my spot back. I'm taking it back. I'm taking it back right now. Thurby is.
We should have gone last.
Thurby is not a word. Thurby is a lazy marketing concept. Horse racing, be better. If this is the best we can do, no, just no. You know this day is coming. If that is the best, you just, yeah. It rots my brain that of all the things in horse racing that could catch on with the public, that's the thing that catches. It blows my mind.
It does, and I think based on that, we should send it home. For Dave Champagne, thank you very much for joining us. For all of our guests that you saw videos for Andrew Champagne, JD Fox, please subscribe on YouTube. Andrew, why don't you hit him with the catchphrase?
All righty. Everybody stay safe, and most importantly, stay off the beaches.
Take care, everybody.
Good night, everybody.